Tip number 227 from the book 501 Contractor Tips: working in bad weather conditions. Now, if you're going to work in an area where it's raining, snowing, it's real hot, you've got to keep this taken into consideration. Now, I understand that if you are a contractor in this area, you've been in the area for a few years, this is going to be something you're going to take into consideration most of the time anyway. But when it comes to estimating, you've got to take everything into consideration. Every possible problem, you've got to somehow be able to foresee it in advance. The better you get at this, the more money you're going to make, because you're going to eliminate some of the problems that you do actually come across. It's not going to be a surprise to you if you can't work for 3 days and it ruined the foundation and you're out there pumping. You've got to pump water out of the foundation and you've got to cover it up. This is wasted materials, then wasted man hours for working. This is all stuff that, again, you've got to be able to have a cushion for. You've got to be able to foresee. The last thing you want to do is have a profit or a cushion in your job, which is part of your profit, and then lose that cushion within the first 20% of the project working. If you're building a house and you haven't even poured the building foundation yet, but you've already used up all your profit money, this is going to be a rough job. This could turn into a really tough job. So weather conditions for certain jobs aren't going to be as big of a problem. I found out that framing the house and pouring the concrete, digging the foundation, stuff like that, this was where the weather conditions really played an important role. And I cannot tell you how many times I had to pump water out of footings or out of an area after the concrete had been poured to build like a raised floor. One time all the water in the house went into our stem walls. It was a raised foundation, and I want to say it filled this thing up. It was probably about 10 inches of water. We had to pump it out of there. You're probably thinking, hey, didn't it go out of the crawl space? Well, the crawl space hadn't been cut in yet. We were going to cut the crawl space in within a few days. It was going to get cut into the existing house. We're going to use you were going to come through the existing crawl space into the new room addition. So it was something we didn't foresee. We went down, rented the pump, pumped the water out. Hard to imagine, I know. The next day it rained again. We had to go back and rent the pump again. This was wasted to we didn't plan on. Came right out of our pockets. So weather conditions can play a vital role in your estimating. So make sure that you allow for that. And another thing that happened to me too, quick story, is I estimated a job one time and the project called out for 1/2-inch CD plywood. It wasn't an exterior grade plywood, just a regular plywood grade. And I told the lumber salesman what it was, and he asked me, he goes, well, do you want to go with an exterior grade? It's like another $1 a sheet. And I had I needed like 1,000 sheets. It's $1,000. And I was thinking to myself, God, that wouldn't be a bad idea, but this is what it calls out for. I'm staying with the specs on the plans. Well, it rained like a son of a gun. And some of this lumber buckled and delaminated. And I didn't get in trouble because it said on the plans CD. But I could have saved myself a lot of frustration asking the property owner, would you like to upgrade the plywood just in case it does rain? Again, we had a lot of problems because of this, and to me it produced an inferior product because some of the plywood wasn't replaced even though it was delaminating or starting to delaminate. And this would have never happened if I had the right plywood in there or paid a little more money. So keep that in mind. It's like I said with estimating. You've got to be able to compensate, make adjustments for everything. This is not like you're making a book. You write the book, you edit the book, you print the book, and you see a couple of mistakes in the book, you fix it, and you reprint the book, and you're good to go for the rest of the time. It's not like that building a house. A lot of these construction projects are just have too many variables in them, too many possibilities for problems. And you got to figure as much as you can. You've got to be able to, you know, get as much as you can. And this is the learning process to where you get screwed over time. And that's where this book comes in. You know, just me making this point to you. You're watching the video. You're thinking, hey, the next job I'm going to bid is in an area where it's extremely dry, you know, or it's extremely wet. Just maybe it's going to ring a bell there. You don't have to go through the same problem that I went through.